So are you a fan of Chanel's men's fragrances, or I should say the masculine fragrances? I am, and I've got 15 fragrances here from the House of Chanel. 12 are from their signature men's collection releases, and I've got 3 from a few other collections that are unisex, but I feel like they're masculine or should be, you know, masculine enough for men to wear. So if you're curious to learn about these 15 fragrances and how I rank them, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. That's right, today I'm talking about Chanel and their masculine offerings from this house. And I'll tell you what my top 15 masculine Chanel fragrances are. But before we do that, if this is your first time tuning into the channel and you still haven't subscribed to the channel, please click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so that you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So Chanel is that brand that is not attached to a conglomerate like, you know, Dior with LVMH, with YSL with L'Oreal, and Gucci with Coty, and so on. So this is a company that's all on its own, and I feel like they don't crank out fragrances. They're very, well, maybe they are cranking out a few fragrances lately with their Les Exclusives collection, but I feel like the men's fragrance collection, they haven't released anything newish. I mean, they've released 3 flankers for BLEU de Chanel, but there's nothing else that's come after that that's different than BLEU de Chanel. So I feel like they need to get going and give us some things new. But I've got 15 fragrances here. 12 of them are from their signature lineup. I think I have pretty much everything here. I don't think they have anything that I don't own. Plus I've got 3 that are from other collections. 2 from Les Exclusives and 1 from Les Eaux collection that I find to be masculine enough for them to be considered in this video. But they are unisex targeted. And the cool thing is, for me, those fragrances are at the very top. And I'm going to start with number 15. And number 15 is from the BLEU de Chanel collection, and that is BLEU de Chanel Eau de Toilette. So when I first got into this hobby, this was already out. I feel like it had already somewhat of a following, and it wasn't one that I had embraced, because when I really got into this heavily, I was going for the, you know, the beast mode, intense kind of experiences for fragrances that are not freshies like this. But you know what? When you go up that high and you kind of have you crash because your nose kind of gets a little overwhelmed. So subtle fragrances, kind of come in handy. And I find that this is a subtle fragrance. It's not anything groundbreaking. It's a very simplistic, crowd-pleasing fragrance, which is good fragrance if you're not the fragrance connoisseur or aficionado. So it's a good thing for me to have it, but in the end, it's like, do I wear it anymore? It's just one for me to have here that I can speak about in videos like this, and potentially pull and wear something that I'm not looking for much in a fragrance. But this one's all about grapefruit, incense, ginger, lemon, mint, vetiver, cedar. It's kind of in that BLEU series of fragrances that's very popular, which includes other designer fragrances. But I'm ranking it at number 15 because, it doesn't do much for me now. So the number 14 is the Parfum version of that fragrance. It's sad that I'm ranking this low. It is a pretty darn good quality fragrance, but again, it's just a more extreme or intense or a stronger version of the original. And out of the 3 of these fragrances from the BLEU de Chanel, I prefer the EDP, just factoring the price point. It's deeper, richer than the Eau de Toilette. It's not as expensive as this one. It's a preference thing of out of the 3 of these fragrances, which you prefer. This one ends up here. It's lemon zest, sandalwood, cedar, lavender. I feel like what happened here is the creaminess of the sandalwood pops more, but it mostly becomes more about the sandalwood than the grapefruit, which according to my notes, this has lemon zest instead of grapefruit, whereas the EDP and EDT have grapefruit, which I really enjoy in the fragrance. Anyway, this is BLEU de Chanel Parfum, And at number 13, it is the EDP version. And I like this one. I like that. It's in between the two, the more concentrated version and the lighter version. It's a quality fragrance, a crowd-pleasing fragrance. Again, it's one of the dumb reach kind of fragrances. It's not anything groundbreaking, but it smells pleasant and people tend to love it on you. Bleu de Chanel EDP is at number 13. And we're going to a classic now. I'm ranking this one pretty low because it's been butchered a lot. And also I feel like it's not something that the current generation wears. This is ANTAEUS, one of Chanel's fragrances. I'm surprised it's still here, but I feel like Chanel hasn't really discontinued any fragrances for men. And again, they don't crank out a lot of fragrances, so this one is still sticking around. And ANTAEUS is all about Castoreum, which is basically a leather, what it's used to create this leather accord. And I spoke to you guys about the Castoreum note recently in my animalic fragrances video. And again, I feel like this is actually now using synthetic Castoreum to create this leather accord. And for me, it smells a little gummy. It doesn't smell smooth. It smells gummy and chalky at the same time. But it has loads of Castoreum, which I'm assuming it's a synthetic. It has loads of Oakmoss, which I'm assuming it's now Oakmoss. And because of these two notes, which are regulated by IFRA, you're getting something synthetic, and then they've actually removed the original notes and replaced with synthetic notes to create the smell. So you can totally tell that the fragrance is no longer the same as it used to be at one point back in the 80s when this was pretty popular. It was a very popular fragrance. So in addition to the Castoreum and Oakmoss, we've got Rose, Patchouli, Labdanum, Myrrh, Clary, Sage, and Coriander. So it's a spicy, leathery fragrance. Very, very sexy at one time, but now it's a spitting image of what it used to be. Anyway, ANTAEUS, it's still better than the Bleu de Chanel fragrances, but not by a lot. Next, we're going to another classic. This is Paul Monsieur in the EDP version. So I have a video of on my channel with Dahlia, which we compare these two versions together. And she preferred this one and I prefer the original. I like this one because it's a smooth fragrance, but none of the citrus notes jump out. But this one's known for lemons, vanilla, nutmeg, lavender, vetiver. But there's a smoothness about it and a more subtlety about it in comparison to this one, whereas when you compare the two, this one goes a lot more astringent. I've ranked this higher than this one because I want the notes to stand out and I want the freshness. This is very, very fresh to me in comparison to this one. If you want it to be a little more creamy, because I feel like there's a creamy factor about this, and that's why it gives me like a very smooth quality, but it's mostly about the lemons, vanilla, nutmeg, as I said, with lavender and vetiver. It's a great aromatic, citrusy fragrance, and you know, it's classy, but I still prefer the other one, and sadly that's why this one is ranked at number 11. And at number 10, it is Paul Monsieur, the original, the classic men's fragrance from this house, and this is not easy to get in the USA. If you have anybody traveling to the UK or Europe or France, of course you can get it there, but this one unfortunately it's not sold here in the States, which is sad. I don't know why they do things like that, but I can see why it might smell a little old. And this one has that astringency. It's almost like lemongrass or lemon verbena in here, so it's very, very citrusy, astringent, tart. But lemons, oakmoss, vetiver, petitgrain, cardamom, neroli, ginger, and coriander in this one. I think it's a great classy scent. I prefer it more than this because the notes in this jump out more. This one kind of is subtle and subdued. It doesn't scream at me. I don't know if you guys experience fragrances like that, but I do, and I want the notes to stand out rather than blend in. And in comparison to the original, I feel like they give us a subtle version of this. Now, don't get me wrong, I like subtle fragrances, but I like a fragrance that's original and subtle. And if I'm used to something like this and I get this, it kind of leaves me a little disappointed, if that makes sense. Anyway, Paul Monsieur is a great, great scent. It's classic, and it's also very tart and astringent from Chanel. That's Paul Monsieur at number 10. And next we're going to Platinum Egoiste from Chanel. Of course, this is all Chanel list. And Platinum Egoiste is a nice take on the original Egoiste. It's so different than the original, actually. Platinum meaning, for me, metallic. This has a very metallic smell, very steel, kind of cold and sharp. Those kind of things come to mind, and I feel like the notes that they've combined here together give us a very, very sharp experience. herbal notes sometimes do go sharp, and what we have loads of here is lavender, geranium, rosemary, clary sage, oak moss, galbanum, and neroli. So all those notes combined together is going to be a very, very sharp and metallic experience. I mean, the name is appropriate and they've created something correct. And I feel like even though this smells a little lighter, it's still kind of kept to the way it's originally smelling. And I wore this in the early 90s and I really loved it as a smell. And I got tired of it in the latter part of the 90s. I actually picked up a bottle back in the late 2000s, and now I have this particular bottle here. Anyway, this is Platinum Egoiste. If you like sharp, metallic, herbal, aromatic fragrances, definitely check out Platinum Egoiste. It's definitely one that is worth checking out. Now, this next one is a fragrance called Allure Homme Sport. Now, this is a flanker to the original Allure Homme, and Allure Homme Sport goes into a aquatic direction. When you smell it right out of the bottle, I can smell marine smells in here, kind of seaweed-like smells. But in for notes, what we have, this collection is known for tonka beans, the Allure Homme series. But here we've got orange, marine notes, aldehydes. See, the aldehydes come in a lot of men's fragrances. I'm going to mention a few more that have aldehydes in them. And aldehyde, I feel like, is something that they used in Chanel No. 5. I think for the first time. I'm not 100% sure, but because of that, I feel like Chanel uses that note a lot. And here it adds a kind of a fizzy quality to the fragrance, sparkling quality. But this one's orange, marine notes, aldehydes, mandarin orange, tonka beans, vanilla, black pepper, neroli, and musk. You know, it's great. I prefer the other one a little more, which you'll hear about, the extreme version of this, because the extreme doesn't go as marine as this one does. But if you like the marine touches more, then definitely this one will be one for you to try. So this is Allure Homme Sport, and that's at number 8. And at number 7, it's Allure Homme, the original. And the Allure Homme is a classic. It just is a very, very classic smell, but I had to rank it here because, you know, obviously I can't rank everything at number 1. And what I like about this one is you can smell the vanillic, lemony, fruity tonka beans. Loads of tonka beans in here. It's a tonka beans bomb, and I like tonka beans in fragrances. It adds a very unique, nutty, slightly ambery quality to fragrances. Vanilla, lemons, peach, tonka beans, ginger, coconut, black pepper, mandarin orange, and lavender. It's a great classy men's fragrance. Again, I think these are kind of subtle. I shouldn't say these are kind of subtle. I feel like what they've done is a lot of fragrances under designers have been reformulated and kind of lightened up. It's still a great scent, but I feel like they should give us something a little more concentrated, a little more beefy. Like they've given us a Bleu de Chanel Parfum, which I feel like is not necessary, but they should give it of this. You know, I think it definitely is necessary. Anyway, Allure Homme is at number 7. I really enjoy the scent, but I could totally see a more concentrated Parfum version of the original. And at number 6, it's Allure Homme Edition Blanche. This one was a love at first sniff for me. That lemony, creamy vibe in here is so cool. It's changed from the original Allure Homme. You know, we've got that loads of lemons, but the creaminess is just really, really unique. I don't get much tonka beans here, not as much as the original, but I do get loads of lemon with vanilla. There's a peppery touch with pink pepper, citrusy touch with bergamot, there's sandalwood and musk. But again, the tonka bean is the star here, but not so much with the not so much as the lemons is with the vanilla. And because of the lemons and vanilla, you get that kind of creamy, kind of almost like a creamsicle, kind of a lemon creamsicle or lemon chiffon pie-like qualities, which I really enjoy in this one. That's why it's at number 6. So this is Allure Homme Edition Blanche from Chanel at number 6. Top 5 is going to be a little unique. As I said, I do have a few fragrances from a few other collections, actually 3 fragrances, and those are at the very top because I feel like I like them a little more. But still, I've ranked this as best as possible to what I feel like the fragrances are. So it's very true to what I'm thinking about these fragrances. So anyway, at number 5, we're going to Egoiste, this one right here. And Egoiste is a classic fragrance that used to be called Bois Noir. So this one is chock full of cinnamon with sandalwood, rose, tobacco, rosewood, vanilla, carnation leather, and ambrette. I believe there's also some coriander here, some mandarin, and there's some mahogany note as well. It's a very woody, spicy concoction, and it's also a very musky kind of a concoction. And I feel like if you've ever compared this to Chanel number 18, you'll kind of find some similarities because it's using ambrette. And that's an interesting note for me. I enjoy ambrette in fragrances, and it really is prominent here. But what's really prominent here is the cinnamon, sandalwood, and rose combo. That's basically what's running the show. But the muskiness of the ambrette is behind the scenes. Also, you can compare this to a fragrance from Dior called Santal Noir. I feel like they're kind of inspired from one another. If you like Santal Noir, just think about this one. If you have this one, compare those two together. You'll see the similarities. But I feel like this is a very classy fragrance. Still smells great today. Maybe a little tired, but not so much. That's why it's at number 5. So this is Egoiste at number 5 from Chanel. All right, the last of the fragrances from the main signature lineup of men's fragrances from Chanel is Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. So this one has crept way up there because I just really love the uniqueness of the smell. A lot of the designer fragrances from Chanel, from the signature lineup, don't have the best longevity for me. Even this one doesn't, but as far as the unique smell goes, I really love this. This is such a great scent. It's a great scent. It's called Sport Eau Extreme, but I don't get the sporty touches with this one. I don't know why. I just don't, and I don't feel like it's a sport fragrance. But what I like about this one is it's just chock full of tonka beans, mandarin, mint, musk, black pepper, sandalwood, cypress, clary sage. And I feel like in here I can also pick up some slight marine touches and also some slight aldehydic touches. That's signature to Chanel's fragrances, and that's why this one turns out to be one of my favorite. Now the nuttiness of the tonka beans and the slight ambery touches of the tonka beans is really cool with this fragrance. There is this a little bit of a gummy quality with the fragrance. When I'm wearing it, it kind of feels like it separates on me. So I get that experience with the fragrance. It's just, you know, if you wear it, just experience the wearing quality, and I don't know if you guys get that as well. So that's kind of a disappointing part about it, but as far as the smell goes, it's a great scent. I love the way this smells. So this is Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme, and that's at number 4. And the next 3 fragrances, as I said, are from other collections, with number 3 being the Chanel Paris Biarritz. Now, I put the most masculine out of the 3 from this collection. They're unisex targeted fragrances, all focused on places that Chanel had set up shop, I believe. And Paris Biarritz, man, it's so good, guys. If you like fragrances like what is it called? Mugler's cologne, but a lot more interesting with a lot more notes kind of thing, because it's a eau de cologne style of fragrance. This is eau de toilette, not eau de cologne, but it's that kind of neroli, orange blossom. This is definitely one for you to try. Now this one has loads of mandarin orange, oranges, tangerine, bergamot, neroli, lemon, green notes, grapefruit, musk. It is, there's also some lily of the valley and patchouli in here, but it's a fresh fragrance bomb. It's so good. I've worn so much of it, and I've actually decanted some for friends as well because, you know, they fell in love with it. But this is how much I've got left. It's a great greenish, soapy, clean, fresh fragrance. And again, it is unisex targeted, but I feel like this one is very a masculine leaning kind of a cologne, men's eau de cologne, and pour homme kind of a style of fragrance. That's why I've included in this list. So check this one out. It's Paris Biarritz from Chanel. The entire collection is great. There's Paris Deauville and Paris Venice, and there's also Paris Riviera, with Paris Riviera being my least favorite of the 4, but I still enjoy it. Okay, we've got 2 more left, and these last 2 fragrances are from the Les Exclusives collection, with Sycamore being at number 2. Sycamore is a unisex targeted fragrance, but I feel like it's very masculine offering because it's all about vetiver, and it's vetiver with cypress, and I like that about it. There's also aldehydes. The aldehydes does come in, the signature aldehydes for Chanel. Tobacco, sandalwood, there's spices, pink pepper, violet, and you've got a great vetiver fragrance in Chanel style. Very classy, very masculine, very crisp, very earthy, woody kind of an offering, and that's why it's at number 2. And sad that I'm including these more exclusive fragrances at the top, but I feel like they're a little more unique in smells and a little more modern. Anyway, that's Chanel Les Exclusives collection Sycamore at number 2. And at number 1, once again, it's from the Les Exclusives collection, and it's a unisex targeted fragrance. It's called Boy. It's an aromatic fougere fragrance, but this one focuses on loads of lavender with musk and geranium. There's some heliotrope in there. There's some vanilla. There's orange blossom, lemons, tonka, oak moss, and I feel like there's aldehydic touches in here because I pick up the Chanel DNA in a major form here. So the Chanel DNA is in here. If you like an aromatic fougere with that Chanel touch, this one definitely should satisfy. And I like this one as a fougere because it's loads of lavender with loads of geranium. The geranium is so stand out that you can smell the contrast between the lavenders, the lavenderiness, and the geranium's pepperiness, and slight rosy touches as well. It's a great scent. That's why it's at number 1. Again, it's unisex targeted, but I feel like it's masculine enough for it to be featured here on Chanel Masculine Fragrances video. Anyway, that's Boy from the Les Exclusives collection by Chanel at number 1. Anyway, those are my favorite fragrances from Chanel, the masculine fragrances from Chanel. 15 fragrances that you guys can wear. Let me know if you're fans of these fragrances, and if you had to do this list, how would you rank Chanel's masculine fragrances? I'd like to see a top 5 at least from a lot of you so that I can see what you guys like and what you guys don't like. I also want to mention, or bring up the fact, I did mention this already, that Chanel's signature lineup of fragrances do not last a long time on me, but let me know, do they last a long time on you? Do you get great longevity? I get moderate, a little below moderate actually, 5-6 hours, pushing maybe as low as 4.5 to as high as 6.5 is ballpark of how long these signature fragrances from Chanel last. But let me know, maybe you guys get different experiences, but that's what I get. Other than that, guys, thanks so much for watching today. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Otherwise, please like this video, please share it, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.